everybody, my name is Sue and I'll be presenting the Wednesday word for you today from Connections Church, Inverloch. Now, Connections Church mandate is to connect you to God, to people and to purpose. And today I want to share with you a word about vases. Now, a couple of weeks ago I got a telephone call from a friend out of the blue and she said to me, "Can I just drop in a surprise for you?" And I said, yeah, that's fine. So I met her in my driveway not long after that, and she handed me a big box of vases that she had collected for me. And her message to me was, a woman could never have too many vases. Now, vases are lovely, but it's actually what they contain that is the real treasure to me. Even though some of them can be very, very expensive and quite valuable, not many people would line them up on the mantelpiece without filling them with something else as well. I'm likely to fill them with roses. Perhaps you like other flowers. Actually, I've already used one of those vases this week for just that purpose. Now I want to show you a table full of vases of different sizes, shapes and colours. And I want you to imagine that these represent the members of our church. I wonder which one of these vases or vessels best represents your life. Perhaps you see yourself as the bright, colourful one, or the beautifully engraved one, or perhaps you see yourself as the simple glass one that has some practical use but isn't that special. It doesn't stand out among all the other vases. However you see yourself, it doesn't really matter, because it's God's perspective is what really matters. And He sees each of us, His children, as being immensely valuable and special to Him. And when we allow Him to inhabit our lives, it's His glory within that touches the lives of others and advances His kingdom here on earth. We may all look different and sound different and have different natural gifts and abilities, but the treasure within us is exactly the same, and that treasure is God. At the start of this presentation, I told you about my friend who said a woman could never have too many vases. Did you know that God can also not have too many children, sold out for Him and living for His glory? What are you doing with the treasure of God within you? Who are you sharing the life of God with? Who are you reaching out to love to in His name? Who has God specifically entrusted to you? Over the last 18 months, I've heard it said over and over again on the media, and also as I've interacted with people, stay safe. And in the middle of a pandemic, that's good advice. It's not good advice for us concerning living out our faith though. It's not a time to stay safe, because people need to hear, they need to see, and they need to experience God, the treasure that we have within us. In 1 Peter 3 verse 15 it reads, "In your hearts set apart Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have, but do this with gentleness and respect." And this was not just an exhortation to the early church, but to the church universal until Jesus returns. We are Christ's ambassadors. We are His ministers of reconciliation. We are His hands and His feet and His mouthpiece in this world. Without Him, we have nothing of eternal value to give, but with Him, all things are possible. In closing, I want to leave you with a little illustration that meant a lot to me when I was traveling around the nations, and reminded me that all I needed to do was to be available. And if I was available, then God would use me to reach out to others. And these are the simple words that you need to remember. My little with God's much is more than enough. Your little, represented by the vases, with His much, His treasure within you, is more than enough for a hurting world. I repeat, your little with His much is more than enough. Thank you for listening to Wednesday Word.